Good morning. It is November 2nd, and we're going to do an update on what's happening in Pasco County, and in particular with a focus on the flood zone properties and the flood properties. Right now, there's 4,058 properties available in Pasco County. There are 1,297 properties that are contract pending, and the solds. If you've watched my videos, you know I like to go back 7 days and then 30 days to get the 30-day solds are 1,112. Now we are 5 weeks and 2 days out of Helene and 3 weeks and 3 days out of Milton. And I figure we lost as many as 8 days in those 30 days. So this is probably going to be around 1,500 for if we annualize or monthlyize the 30-day solds. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at what's happened in the market over the last 37 days with active listings. This is so interesting. There's been 1,228 new listings since the day before the hurricane. In the last 37 days, there have been 892 properties that got a contract, and just doing it in the same genre, going back 37 days on the solds, it's 1,112 properties have sold. Now, this focus of this video is going to be on the flood zone properties, and not flood zone as in freshwater flooding, but we're looking primarily at the flood zone properties that had to do with the hurricane surge, the storm surge from Hurricane Helene. So there's 129 properties that were listed in the last 37 days that are on the water. And this doesn't count the ones that were listed and went pending or the ones that were listed and sold. So what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this up to just the properties that had the opportunity for storm surge. And that'll be all the coastal properties. And I really want to focus on the properties that sold and transacted from storm surge. So let's go ahead and take a look at the active listings. Now we're going to do it by neighborhood because, let's face it, some of these neighborhoods didn't flood. Aloha Gardens did not flood. Bayou View, Olsner flooded terribly. This is a new listing, $130,000, and it's been on the market for 5 days. Beacon Square, this property flooded. A lot of Beacon Square did not flood. Rock Valley, Glissade did not flood. Sail Drive did not flood. Obviously, this one flooded. Old Dixie Highway and Cape K, this is a new listing, $149,000. And I have not seen this one, but there it is. Mobile home. McRae is a 2-story. Here's a McRae that did flood, $199,000. This is a new listing. 2 days on the market, $199,000. Country Club Estates did not flood. Davis Street flooded terribly. This is $94,000, and this is 3 or 4 feet of water. Had 3 or 4 feet of water for Ian. Idalia. All right, Driftwood Isles. This is 1 day on the market, $169,000. I did not see this one, but there it is. Investor special. Another Driftwood, $200,000. It flooded. It's been on the market for 9 days. It's not waterfront. Driftwood Isles. This one actually flooded, but it's a stilt home. Florimar Terrace flooded, $350,000 for a 1,000 square foot home. Florimar Terrace, again, $350,000. This was listed yesterday. Now, this one has a 2-car garage. Very, very interesting, these Gulf Harbors, Florimar homes. Plenty of room for a pool. 2 days on the market for $200,000 for a 322 in Gulf Harbors. $200,000. I think I have an investor for that one. That's interesting. All right, this is Gulf Harbor's condos. I did not pull the condos out, and I should have. Although this flooded, the first floor flooded here. Bayway Court, $529,000, $409,000. All right, Birch Street. This is Gulf frontage. It did flood. It's 8 days on the market, and it is a 211 cute little house, all ready to go for your shopping pleasure. Gulfview Condos, Heritage Village did not flood. Dartmouth. Interestingly, Holiday Lake Estates, I drove all over it. I couldn't find any position where it flooded. And it just goes to show that in this particular storm, Helene, the Anclote did not have the damage that the Cody River had, and Hudson. Plum Lane behind Gianni's, it did flood. Hudson Beach Estates flooded, $339,000. Investor's Dream, after repaired value. If you see that ARV, that's after repaired value. Well, they're not disclosing it as a flood home, but there it is, Hudson Beach for $339,000 for 1,600 square feet. It works out to $211 a square foot. Gene Rossi flooded, $340,000. It's been on the market for 1 day, and I don't see it saying it flooded. Home did have water intrusion during Helene, but all the hard work has been done. Drywall has been removed. And there it is. Fireplace, waterfront, $340,000. Works out to $272 a square foot. And that is what we always want to look at. Here's Harbor Drive. It flooded, $450,000, been on the market for 29 days. Great view in the backyard. This is amazing because this is Gulf frontage. This is $600,000. This is just an amazing lot. I don't know about you, but this excites me. Anyway, 600 grand works out to $555 a square foot. It's only 1,000 square feet, but the view is limitless. Hudson Beach Estates, $750,000, been on the market for 11 days. This is arguably Gulf frontage. You can't see the Gulf because of the salt marsh, and that's not unusual. Jasmine Acres did not flood. This one has an extra parcel. It's in Arapaca. I don't know if it's on the water. Let's take a look. It is not on the water, but it did flood. $180,000, works out to $143 a square foot. It'd be real interesting, Lake Conley did not flood, to look at the price per square foot. If you're looking at shopping or if you're looking at selling, let's do some analysis by list price per square foot and then ultimately sold price per square foot, especially for these, once we have the data for these flood homes. Now, this home did flood. Leisure Beach got crushed. So sad. Great neighborhood. Newport Richey did not flood. This spot did not flood. Newport Richey had terrible freshwater flooding along Louisiana and Rio and Lafayette, depending on the height of the property. This is waterfront, $249,000. This has only been on the market for 2 days. It's another new, fresh flood home. Regency Palms. Bay Boulevard flooded. This is a ground floor unit. It likely flooded. That did not flood. That's second floor. Longboat, $109,000. Now, this is a real trying, challenging discussion because this area right here is very low lying. I had a home in 2003, this one right here, and that one, I think it was this one. It didn't have a pool back then. But anyway, I was in there in 2003, and a gentleman came in from the neighbor, and he said, "See this line on the wall, 5.5 feet up?" This was the 1993 no-name storm, and you could still see the line in the drywall. Okay, Senate Manor got crushed. This is $29,500. Senate Manor is a co-op, kind of like what they sell up north. 25,000 of this 29,000 is the fee to be in the neighborhood. So you're buying this for $4,500. I went to the meeting for Senate Manor. Jack Mariano was there, and it's very trying, challenging opportunity, or not opportunity, but it's very, very challenging what's going on with some of these mobile home communities that flooded, and the question of whether they're going to survive. Cabin Court, $129,900. Great location in Signal Cove. This home flooded. This is still $160 a square foot. Keel Court in Signal Cove, 150 grand. This days on market. It's been on the market for 19 days, and that's a challenge. It means to say that there may be some problem with pricing because it hasn't sold. Well, I mean, I love the property, but it's $395,000. It's been on the market for one day. Let's move on. Tahitian did not flood incredibly. Uh, Trailer Haven, Osprey, two-story villa. Viva Villas did not flood, and this is so interesting. Sea Pines, right here. Sea Pines, right here, flooded. How did Viva Villas not flood? There must be. You look at the topographical map, and I'm sure you're going to see that this is low here, very low, and Viva Villas is higher. I talked to a lady in Viva Villa. She said, absolutely, it did not flood. I drove through. There's no debris. This has been listed for one day. I haven't seen it. Let's take a look at it. Mackerel. Okay, that's in Cape K, and it did. Cape K got crushed, but I don't know what this property is. Not waterfront. It's one bedroom, one bath. Trailer does not convey. Home flooded during Helene, and they want $160,000, and it's not waterfront. Wedgwood Village home was affected by recent flooding. $120,000. It's been on the market for 4 days, and this area did flood pretty bad. This Olsner is very low lying. Uh, they probably should consider not allowing these properties to be rebuilt, and that's part of what FEMA's doing. If you haven't watched the video on the FEMA challengings, Westport flooded, 125 grand. As far as waterfront communities go, this one's a little challenging because to get out, you have to go through this right here. And I understand there's a high spot where the oyster bed makes it challenging for boats to get in and out. You see boats out there sometimes in other Westport property waiting for the tide to come up high enough for them to get over the oyster bed. $150,000 has been on the market for 8 days. Another flood home. We only have two more. I want to get into Gulf Trace. It did not flood. Windsor Mill did not flood. And it's actually kind of weird that this is in a flood zone. Anyway, what we want to do now is go into the pendings in this criteria. This will give us an idea of what 50 properties have gone pending. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the condos. Although, there are some condos that flooded. Aloha Gardens, Beacon Square, Brown Acres. Now, this one here flooded. Sandra is just a disaster. Needs a full rehab. I would be very, very careful about buying on Sandra. If you drive down the road, there's quite a few of those properties have been red tagged for being non-livable. They're going to require permits to rebuild it, and when they do, there's a good potential that they're going to be denied if they don't line up with the 50% rule, which I just found out in Pasco County is 49%. If you want to understand that, give me a call. All right, this one went pending at $152 a square foot. Great corner lot in Cape K. Fair Lane is a multi-story. Country Oaks did not flood. Egret's Place is a stilt home, another stilt home. Compass in Gulf Harbors. Photos were taken before the storm and flooding. 11 days on the market for 235 grand. It'll be interesting to see what that goes under contract at. And if I'm not mistaken, is Compass isn't waterfront. Compass is no, Compass is not waterfront. I owned one once on Compass, and now I might have owned that one. It looks awfully familiar. Bonita pending $600,000 in Florimar, which I keep calling Gulf Harbors. Top sales pending at $350,000. After 195 days, Gardens at Beacon Square did not flood. Gulf Harbors condos, the ground floors flooded. Marine Parkway, Gulf Harbors condo. Okay, Gulf Harbors Woodland on Dewey. I'm pretty certain it did not flood. Went under contract. Was listed prior to. Gulf Harbors did not flood. Gulf View Villas did. Harbor Isles flooded terribly. Great neighborhood, great location. $350,000 after 250 days. Property has flooded due to the hurricane. Nice neighborhood properties in there and go for, I don't know, $1 million more maybe. Hudson Beach Summers went under contract after 6 days, $199,000. Bernard flooded. It was 132 days on the market, listed at $298. Osprey did not flood. Osprey and Jasmine Acres. Wow, sure does look like it flooded. Which? Oh, excuse me. No, this Jasmine flooded terribly. Olsner, all of these properties, 3 to 4 feet of water in here. Some lower houses had 5 or 6 feet of water. Jasmine Acres, there's like 4 Jasmines. Martha's Vineyard flooded, $299,000. Price reduction. Home got some water damage due to Hurricane Helene. Neptune flooded, pending after 2 days. Actually, that one happened so fast, I don't know that this one actually made it into any of the videos. $195,000. Lisa flooded, went under contract after 8 days. Susan flooded, went into contract 83 days, so was listed prior to the storm. Here's one that went under contract in 6 days, $350,000. Quist. This definitely flooded. But it's on the water and 375 grand. You know, I think I can pause this. If I can pause this, I'll get some water. Maybe I can't. Anyway, here we go. Harbor Drive, $200,000 after 8 days on the market. Longboat flooded terribly. Hatteras and Sea Pines flooded, went on the market and sold, or went pending in 1 day. Sea Pines, $269,000. 359 days on the market. Hallelujah. Went pending. Old Dixie Highway went pending in 11 days. I hear it went substantially below this 299,000. Look forward to seeing that. Donzie went pending after 9 days. Very nice property. Hatteras, 167 days, was listed prior to the storm and went pending after the storm. Britain flooded, $150,000, went pending in 9 days. Janita, incomprehensible, can't explain it. $545,000. Seaview Condos or Seaview Place, Senate Manor got crushed, and you really got to wonder about the whether the 49% rule, which we all know is the 50% rule, is going to crush that neighborhood. Signal Cove, 2 days on the market, went pending. Starboard, big property, nice docks and floating dock, $174,000, went pending in 9 days. Tower Drive went pending in 3 days. 2 more here. San Mateo and Westport, $319,000. Challenging explanation there, so we're not going to try to make one. And then San Sierra and Westport. Okay, let's look at the solds. So in this criteria, there's been 370 sold, but we really want to know what happened since the storm. What happened since the storm? Now, the most interesting one, okay, these are still by neighborhoods. So let's go to Bay Park. This one was on the market for well, it says 77 days. It was listed at 139,000. It closed at 118,000. This is a very low lying area, and it definitely flooded. Okay, Beacon Square, Overland did not flood. Newberry did not flood. Grayton did not flood. Mallet, what the heck? $124,000. It sold for $110,000. This one flooded terribly. And it's one of those, again, that you have to wonder, will it be rebuilt? If you go in there and get permits, are they going to deny it because of the 50% rule? Gardens at Beacon Square did not flood. This is a two-story property. Gulf Highlands did not flood. Sea Ranch, fourth floor. Shiloh, $385,000. Stilt home sold for $347,000, $310 a square foot. Butler, this is a 1997 home, so in theory, the downstairs is not built out. And that isn't waterfront. Holiday Lake Estates, not waterfront. Okay, Berkowitz flooded. They were asking $270. It sold for $200. Okay, $226 a square foot for a block flood home. Here's $197 a square foot. It was asking $200. It sold for $187 in, well, it went under contract. Well, we can see it did it in 26 days. Osprey flooded. This is not a waterfront property. Asking $109,000. It sold for $100,000. Again, the 49% rule. Olsner asking $199, sold for $130. Should not be rebuilding those properties. Lakeside Woodlands did not flood. Oyster Bayou, this is a stilt home, so Pine Tree and Pine Acres, asking $134,000, and it sold for $130,000 for a single wide mobile home. It's not on the water. I just don't know. Sand Pebble, multi-stories. Sea Pines flooded, $150,000. It sold for over the asking price, and this is not waterfront. The property has some flood damage, but affected walls have been removed. Hatteras flooded, but it's a multi-story house, but it closed on October 28th for $805,000. Very interesting. I don't see it as a dramatic price drop, but that's what they say. Move in ready. Islander, beautiful home. Let's just look at the price. $775 they were asking. It sold for $750,000. All right, Leslie flooded. They were asking $380, and it sold for $200. And this was on the 31st, which was what's today's Saturday. So this was Thursday. So we didn't talk about this. Asking $380, sold for $200, and the sold price per square foot is $154. This may be the best deal we've seen for properties that close. Nope, here. Yeah. See, this one they were asking $175, and it sold for $225. It went under contract in 3 days, and it closed in 16 days. But the sold price per square foot is $224. Claudia asking $250, sold for $225, went under contract in 5 days, closed in 21 days. Janita, $374, sold for $320. I'm pretty certain this flooded. This one we don't care about because it's a multi-story condo. Senate Manor, asking $60, sold for $35,000. And this closed on Thursday, and I hadn't looked at it. Let's just go ahead and look at the map, because in Senate Manor, see, all this flooded down here. And as the water came further, these flooded terribly. These flooded a little bit more. These flooded a little bit, less. And up here, I didn't see any debris outside of those higher congressional, likely did not flood. Interesting. Signal Cove, asking 149, sold for 124. Home had water intrusion. They don't like to say flood, because if you say flood, then you don't get to claim a insurance event. You say water intrusion, wind-driven water. This went under contract in 3 days, and it closed in 14 days. Coxswain, 149,000, sold for 125,000. Sold price per square foot of $120. Now, this is a Signal Cove. It is a mobile home. Tahitian did not flood. And San Sebastian and Westport, asking 335, sold for 335. $167 a square foot. It is a 322 block home, and it sold in 0 days. And if you have any time and want to know why 0 days on the market's a problem, let me know and I'll share that with you. Anyway, this video's gone way too far. Let me see if I can jump back in there and wave goodbye. Thanks for watching. Hey, like my my YouTube page, and keep watching for more updates on real estate tips. Hey, I did a great video yesterday, my third video of the difference between settlement homes and sinkhole homes. Appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye now.